Hey everyone, it's Nicole Nowosad and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here today sharing a process video from my cut file shop called Just Nick. I'm just using a couple of these cut files here that we have on our site, and let's go. So this first background I've die cut is actually a shape that's not in the store yet. It's coming very soon, and I've actually die cut the word remember. That's one of the new cut files that just came out. And I have a whole bunch of flowers here. This is from the Stems for Stephanie cut files from my friend Stephanie Hart. Wanted a whole bunch of flowers. So one day I just drew a whole bunch and made these for that cut file. And I just cut them out of different patterns of paper from a 6x6 paper pad. And you can see I have some there that I cut from vellum. And I'm just going to layer a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to mix up the patterns. I'm going to mix up the colors. And then I have some that are kind of like a loopy flower and then some that are solid. And I'm just going to layer those and add some foam adhesive to the back. And for the most part, that's really what I'm going to do on this page, is just kind of create little clusters of flowers and add some of that dimensional adhesive to the back. And the flowers really take up the most of my page. Excuse me. So I'm adding the vellum because I think it adds a nice dimension without a lot of weight, and because it's like a girly page. This is my daughter when she was born. The vellum just kind of softens it up and makes it a little more pretty. And I'm just going to kind of direct all these flowers to the almost like the right center part of the page, and I'm just going to try to stick as much as I can to that die cut background. And just kind of starting with the largest flowers there I did first, and then I'm just going to work my way back into smaller ones. And you can see a little bit there, I'm creasing the flowers before I add the foam adhesive. And not that they're going to stay that way forever, but in my page protector, they'll stay for a little bit like that until the book gets really, really squished. But I'll be honest, I have about 200 layouts to put in page protectors, so who knows if they'll actually get into an album, which is really sad, I know. But yeah, that's what I'm doing to add a little bit of dimension. Just kind of primping up those flowers a little bit and just sticking them down in no real method, actually. I'm just trying to match up flowers with different colors so that I don't have too much blue or too much of the green in one area, and then just kind of tucking some underneath my photo. For once, I didn't actually put pop dots underneath my photo, which is bizarre for me. But yeah, so I'm just going to layer them here all the way through. And adding the foam dots is helpful for the flowers, so I can tuck some things underneath them. So now I decided, and I think this was a mistake actually, is to add a little bit of gold mist just along the left-hand side of my page. And that's because the word remember that I cut from a lighter pattern, which is, again, probably my second mistake on this page. I should have used more of that greeny, darker teal color on here, but too late. It's done, and that's okay. So I'm just going to add this in, and the gold does help a little bit. It does help. It's hard to see in the video, but it does help on the page so that you can kind of see a little bit better. And then I add some pink mist, which again was probably another mistake. I should have just left it the way it was, but that's all right. So now I have my flowers pretty much placed, and I just want to embellish the centers of some of them. I don't want to go too crazy. So I added that chipboard. I think it says "Oh Darling" there in the middle of the one flower. And then I'm just kind of toying with the idea of, do I want to continue the flowers down the bottom of the page? And I'm going to do that, or am I? I can't recall if I did that or not. I actually filmed this probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then just editing it now. So I go on like, I guess, binges of YouTube videoing, and then, sorry for the flash there on the, yeah, that's probably driving some people crazy, but I have all my brads in a jar. It's just like a jar. I think I got it at Dollarama or Ikea or something, and I just have them all in there. I know people who are a little OCD will probably hate that, but it works for me. It's about, best way for me to dig through all those brads I've been hoarding for years and years and years. Anyway, now I'm going to add just a few more things in amongst those flowers. I'm going to add in one of these little pretty crepe paper Maggie Holmes bling flowers, just tucked in there, and a wood veneer word just tucked in there. And so I'm going to try to add some of these label stickers. These are Simple Stories I Am. And I'm not going to add too much because those flowers are pretty busy. So I'm just going to add little tiny bits here and there all along my page. and some flowers here, some gold flowers and gold hearts. And I'm going to pop up a few of them here because I have some of my flowers popped up. And really, for the most part, I think that's like the main part of my page. Now that I look back at it, I do think I should have added a flower down lower in the page because it is pretty empty down there. So I'm hoping that I remember to go back and do that. I can't remember what I did with this one, but and I have these really fun kind of blinged out big rhinestoney gem things I got at Michael's, and I really like them, but they're pretty blingy, and I already had that crepe paper bobby pin, I'm going to call it, so that was already pretty blingy, and I didn't want to have too much of that, so I went to my stash there of enamel dots, and I'm going to use some buttons. These are just some natural wood buttons. I think they're from Studio Calico, and I'm adding some natural hemp twine to the middle, and I'm just going to thread the buttons because you cannot have a naked button, people. That's like a crime. And I'm just going to add those to the center of a few of the flowers just to get a bit of texture in there. And the reason I like the natural buttons is they're pretty neutral, right? So they're not going to stand out a lot. You're not going to see like a big pop of pink or green or blue or something like that. So that's why I stuck with the natural color. And I'm just switching up the sizes. So some of them are a little bit larger and some of them are smaller. And then I toy around with adding in this enamel dot with the wood around it from crepe paper, but I think in the end I take some of those off because it's just too pink, but we'll find out in a minute. Anyway, so I ended up using how many cut files on this page? I think I used 3, and that's pretty good actually. Some people have a hard time using more than 1 or 2. Usually a title and a background is probably the most, but you can really do a whole page using all different die cuts. So it's really an easy way to stress your stash if you want to use your pattern paper up, which I have a lot of pattern paper. I think I have about 40. I'm looking over now. Maybe not 40, maybe like 25 or 30 6x6 paper pads that I really want to use up. And I refuse to get rid of them because some of those patterns you just need a small little bit for something, and you know, you don't want to have search through your scrap pile. It's so much easier just to search through a paper pad. So that's why I keep them around. And I find I use a lot of my older ones for things like that. So I'm just going to stick everything down now and stop rambling because that's pretty much what I'm doing. And I add some enamel dots and a few things to clean up. And of course, you always have to add at least a date. I don't add a lot of journaling to my page, but I do add a date. So I'm going to do that, and then I realized my date stamp doesn't actually go back to 2009. I'm sure other people have that problem too, but yeah, so that's pretty much it for my page. I don't want to ramble on too long here, so I'm just going to finish off my project, and then I'm going to show you a few close-ups of the cut files that I used. Again, I used the Remember cut file that was loaded into the store this November, and then some of the flower cut files that have been in our store for a while, but you could use these over and over again and have a completely different look. And then, of course, there's that other one there that's coming very soon, so be on the lookout for that in the shop. So here's just a close-up of that die cut title, and there's those flowers all kind of layered up. You can see them much better now than in the actual live portion of the video. And here is my final project. So again, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to check out those cut files, just head over to justnick.myshopify.com. And if you want, you can go to my blog also at justnicks.blogspot.com. So I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.